Good morning to all of you. Mr. P.K. Das, EDORs, Mr. Das on the dais, my duty directors, Mr. Gaur, Mr. Raman, and I think I'm able to see Tata Refractory, I think, all of you, Tata Refractory and Vishuvyas, and the delegates of from Bhilai Steel Plant, my colleagues, and the delegates of all other sister steel plants, and various concerned organizations. Very good morning to all of you and the people who are visiting today first time to Bhilai. Welcome to Bhilai. It's an excellent place, and Bhilai Steel Plant at present is going through a best of time. I think many people are not agreeing with me. Okay, I will define it like this. It's a best of time for Bhilai Steel Plant. Because when the situation becomes tough, the tough gets going. And a professional can only build muscles when the situation becomes tough. And professionals should always want the situation become tough. Because whenever the situation becomes comfortable, the professional stops growing. Am I correct? If everything is comfortable, then we are not performing. And the situation is tough, means there is job for us, there is challenges for us, there are challenges to overcome. That's the best time for professionals. That's the time when we build muscles. And that's the time Bhilai is building muscles, Bhilai is building capability. That's the best time for Bhilai professionals. That's the way we should take it. And it's very soon, with the capability and the competence and the skill of Bhilayans, we are going to rise, and we are going to rise very soon. And we'll come back and go ahead much above what we have shown earlier. That's the spirit of Reliance. Thank you very much. See, industry, why industry came and why technology came. If you go back to the evolution or the start of this earth, there are many species in this earth. We are not the only species. We must have seen giant dinosaurs, elephants, whales in the seas, what sort of a giant people were there, but nobody survived. None of the species survived in this world. Only humans survived. That is Homo sapiens. We are called Homo sapiens. We only survived. None of them survived. And whoever has survived have become our slaves. We have conquered the world. It is not, the world was never made for human beings. It was made for all the species. God has not created human to conquer the world. But we have survived. Why? Why not the giant dinosaurs? Why not the giant elephants? Why not the giant chimpanzee? Or you have seen so many type of species in the jungle. Why they didn't survive and we survived only? Why? Because the only difference between Homo sapiens and all other species were language. Nobody, they shouted, they gave signals, they struck to their chest and showed their emotions, but they could not bring languages. We brought languages. The human had voice, then they formed languages, and language became the way of communication among us. And that started collaboration between people. You leave 100 chimpanzees in a forest, after some time they will fight, they will shout, they will fight for food, they will fight for survival. You put 100 people, 100 human beings in a situation, after some time they will collaborate and find out how to survive. The collaboration is key of survival of human beings, human society. That's the way we are here. 200 people sitting in a room, not a single bit of sound. You put 200 chimpanzees here and 200 elephants here, they cannot stay in a room. We are able to stay. We are able to sit quietly. We are able to sit and listen to things. No other species can be put in a room and told to behave in a way which we are behaving in a way. So that's the difference between human beings, the Homo sapiens, and all other species. That's the reason we are controlling the world. And why technology? If you go back to the centuries when humans started in the jungles, started hunting for food, then he started finding out how to make life easier, because we always want how to become comfortable, how to make things work. So we started working, and slowly, we wanted to replace our muscles. We don't want to work. Initially, we were working in our hand and trying to make things for us. Then we should try to work on the hand. Why don't you develop certain things which will work for us? We always want somebody to work for us. So we invented something. We invented machines. And in the preliminary era, when we called industry, when it came back from house or the villages, when we are talking of a blacksmith making a weapon or making a jugaad for us, the steam engine was invented, and the first revolution, industrial revolution that people are telling 1.0 started. And after the steam engine, what exactly steam engine has done to us? It has taken our power, it has amplified our power and started working for us. We became comfortable. Second generation of industrial revolution started with the development of electricity, and it's become a mass production event. Things have started producing in a mass way. We don't have to produce one thing in a day. We are able to produce 100 things in a day. So the whole muscle power of human beings got amplified first with the steam engine, then it went to electric power. Human beings are not comfortable. Why only muscle power? Why don't we take some of our intelligence into the machines? So they started, instead of directly controlling machine, they thought, okay, I will tell you what is to be done for days together, you start doing it. Why do I instruct you every day, every time? The concept of automation, the concept of computer started when human beings programmed their intelligence into a machine and told him to behave in a particular way. The automation started, which is called Industrial Revolution 3.0. We are thirsty, we are hungry, we don't want. We want to be more comfortable, we want to rule the world, we want to go ahead. The Revolution 4.0 started in Germany. Why Germany? Why not in other countries? The country which is always in the frontier of technology. In 1989, when I visited Germany, I found no sea shift there, no night shift. They don't want to work in night. They told, okay, we are human beings, we will work in days only. We don't want to work in night. They refuse to work in night. So what they have done, in 89 I have seen industries where the sea shifts were manned by robots only. It's only robots. 400 robots I saw in Nuremberg factory, which was making electrical motors. 400 robots and a watchman was working in sea shift. What they do? They keep things in order, they housekeep the whole equipments, clean the factory in such a way so that the morning when people come, it's absolutely ready for them to work. So what they have achieved in 2 shifts with robots in 3rd shift, which is much more than if you put 3 shift manpower. That's the way they perform. They are always in the frontier of technology. Instead of controlling equipment through machines through intelligence, slowly, human beings started putting intelligence into the machine. What we are talking now is intelligent machines. The machines which are there, the gearbox or the motor which is operating, no longer you have to go and see the machines, how it is performing. Machine tells you back how it is performing. So the human being didn't want to go to the machines to know what exactly the condition is. So they designed the machine in such a way that machines start telling you what is happening to it. So human being wants to stay coolly in their house, in their mobile, they want to know, okay, this machine has started vibrating, okay. They don't have to go and measure the vibration. If the machine is vibrating, it started telling the human being, okay, I am started behaving in this way, please do take care of something. Please do something to me. The whole concept of machines controlled by intelligence, intelligent programs were changed to machine having its own intelligence And slowly, slowly, it went on, went on, went on. Even the products which are getting manufactured now is telling the machine how to treat it. So what exactly is happening now? Instead of when we had mass production with automation, we wanted to produce 100. We wanted to produce thousands of things. And a day, it's no longer possible. Well, nobody wants now mass products things. The people choice changed. Now, a car manufacturer cannot release a model and tell people to buy. Earlier, there was only Ambassador and Premier, Padmini, now hundreds of cars. Now the choices have become huge. The choices have become so huge now, the customer is telling, no, 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 you have to develop a model for me. So give me a computer, I start designing the car and give me the car. So whole assembly line is changing into a flexible manufacturing where the customer dictates what he wants and he designs his car. The car has to be manufactured as per his choice without charging him a single rupee more than what is happening in mass production. How it is done? The machines have become intelligent. It does not have to produce the same parts continuously, but every part he has to change and manufacture in a different way. The machine has become intelligent. The product which is coming to assembly line is having a chip in it. The chip is telling machine, this is the way you have to operate. It's no longer programming beforehand doing as we are doing in our CNC machine. No human programming. The product itself is coming, is telling the machine, okay, I have to be machined like this. So this is my program, take it and run it. Run it in your machine and do it. That's the way things have started happening. Because we have spoiled the consumers. In our childhood, our father brings 20 meters of cloth and all our brother and sister wear the same shirts and pants. Now everybody wants to be different. I don't know why. It does not solve the purpose. What has happened to technology? Technology, after developing automation in an industry, went out of industry. The whole development did not happen in the industry. It went to the entertainment world, it went to the communication. Now, if the breakthrough is happening, breakthrough is happening in mobile. Breakthrough is happening in videos. Breakthrough is happening how videos are getting transmitted. Breakthrough is happening how fast you are able to see the internet. The whole technology shifted from industry to media to entertainment because people felt that they have to be entertained, they are working hard, their quality of life has to be increased. The whole technology shifted to communication. The industry has suffered and the productivity has reduced. Overall world productivity, industrial productivity has reduced because there was no breakthrough after the PLCs and computer or automation which has given to the industry. Now it's back. The whole thing which has been developed in internet is coming back to the industry as Internet of Things. Internet of Things, because things has to be connected through internet. The whole IoT business is the development which has taken place in communication and mobile has coming back to the industry. Now industry, that's called Industry 4.0. The whole technology of automation, the intelligent machines, the intelligent robots to be connected across, to have to talk to each other through Internet of Things across the world, no longer inside an industry. The whole shift of mass production in China and Bangladesh is shifting because the concept on which things were being manufactured in China and Bangladesh was wrong. Because people told, I have to manufacture things in Bangladesh or China or India because labor is cheap. It's derogatory. You cannot have cheap labor in the world. Everybody has to have same quality of life. I cannot give you cheap labor so that you enjoy at my cost. Whole concept is changing because slowly, the people in China or India or Bangladesh started demanding their price. They don't want to be treated cheap. There is no question of getting a cheap labor and enjoying your life at another part of the world. The whole concept was not correct and it is crumbling. The concept is now the industry will be near the consumer. If Bhilai, the whole concept of the Industry 4.0 is, if Bhilai demands the demand of the science or demand of the textile is used from the Bhilai, why not an industry in Bhilai? Why do you manufacture it in Bangladesh or China and travel everything? Again, it's a question of economics, getting everything from China to India and selling it here. The customer sitting at Bhilai will design what shirt he requires because he will tell a different color, different button. And the whole computer aggregates it and find out, okay, there are thousands of orders from Bhilai. Let the Bhilai factory starts operating because everything is automated. There is nothing called somebody has to do some program. The whole program ships to the Bhilai factory and Bhilai starts producing and delivering it to the people. The concept of industry is changing very fast. Now let's come back to India. Everything is happening in Germany because people felt, because it's a need of Germany, it's the need they want. They are actually inventing things to make their country prosperous. They are trying to solve their problem. They are coming out with technology to solve their problem, their industry, their manpower. And what we do in developing countries like us, we go on blindly copying every technology, every processes, without knowing what exactly it will work in India or not. What exactly have we mastered Industrial Revolution 3.0? Have we mastered it till now? Is Bhilai having all the equipments which is automated? Are we having all the equipments, maintenance practices which is competent enough for 3.0? No. It's a big no. And if you have not done this thing, are you having the mindset which is required for Industry 4.0? Are you still have the mindset to run an industry in the way we are running an industry? Have you matured enough to follow all the SOPs, SMPs, safety guidelines which the industry requires? That's a big gap between the technology which is being invented and the technology which we are practicing in an industry. There's a huge gap, and there the challenges come for us, for the leaders in the industry, for the practitioner industry, to introspect, to find out exactly who we are and how fast we have to grow in this area so that we can be in tune with the frontier of technology in the world. If you are not doing, we have to perish. There is no question of surviving in a world where your cost of production is too high. You cannot survive in isolation. It's a challenge for all of us to introspect and find out what more we should do, because the world is moving faster. We cannot be at this stage. Thank you.